Welcome to today's deep dive. We'll be looking at Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, an antidote to chaos. And, Peterson, I think, is pretty well known. But what's interesting is before all of that, he spent years as a clinical psychologist.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it really comes through in the book, doesn't it? I mean, how he approaches these sort of life questions.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, right? When you see a title like 12 Rules for Life, does that seem a little, overly simplistic?
Yeah, I think that's part of what's interesting about it, right? It's like, can 12 rules actually provide like a solution to this, complex world we're living in?
Exactly. So we thought we'd dive into some of these rules and see. And
Yeah.
I have to admit, the first one that really caught my eye was stand up straight with your shoulders back. I mean, just reading that, I was like, really?
I know, right? It seems almost like a joke.
Yeah, but the way Peterson connects this to, lobsters.
Lobsters.
Yeah. And these studies about serotonin levels impacting dominance.
I mean, who knew, right? That lobsters could teach us about confidence.
It's wild. So essentially, he's saying that, posture and dominance are linked, even in the animal kingdom.
Yeah. Like these lobsters with higher serotonin levels, they actually have, more upright postures, more confident postures.
Okay, but how do we actually apply this to our, everyday human lives?
Well, think about how you feel when you're slouching, right?
Uh.
You tend to feel less confident, more withdrawn. And Peterson argues that if you consciously correct your posture, it actually sends a signal to your brain, shifting your mindset.
A mind-body connection, right?
Exactly. It's a feedback loop. You stand taller, you feel more confident, and that leads to actions that further boost your confidence.
Okay, so it's kind of a fake it till you make it approach.
In a way, yes, but it's more than that. You're actually rewiring your brain by changing your physical behavior.
Interesting. Okay, so I think this next rule is where things get really personal. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. I mean, that's a powerful statement.
Yeah, it really is. It challenges that whole, self-care is selfish mentality.
Yeah. Which I think is so pervasive, especially now, right? Like we're always supposed to be on, always hustling.
Exactly. But Peterson's saying, no, you can't give to others if you're running on empty. Self-care isn't indulgent. It's essential.
I struggle with that all the time, I have to admit.
I think we all do. It's like we put everyone else's needs before our own.
Yeah. It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of yourself first before you can truly show up for others.
Exactly. And it's not just about physical well-being, it's emotional and mental too. And that brings us to another rule. Make friends with people who want the best for you.
The power of your tribe, right?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. The people we surround ourselves with, they shape our reality.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've had friendships, looking back, that I realized weren't actually supportive. Like friends who are always negative or subtly undermining my goals.
It's draining, isn't it? And it can really hold you back.
Peterson's not saying you have to ditch all your friends who challenge you, but to be mindful of the overall impact.
Yeah, exactly. Are your relationships fueling your growth or depleting your energy? That's the question.
Right. It's a good thing to be aware of. And speaking of things to be aware of, let's talk about that rule about comparison, right? The one that says, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. I mean, that's huge, especially with social media and everything.
Oh my gosh, right. Social media is like the comparison game on steroids. But is it the cause, or is it just like this amplifier for something we already do?
Yeah, I think it's probably a bit of both.
Hmm.
But what Peterson's saying is that, instead of constantly measuring ourselves against others,
Right.
what if we looked at our own progress, how far we've come?
It's about celebrating those small wins.
Yeah.
Right? Acknowledging our own growth.
Yeah, setting realistic expectations based on our journey, not someone else's highlight reel.
Exactly. And that's how you reduce that anxiety that comes with comparison.
Okay, now this next rule is the one I need to work on the most. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. I mean, ouch, right?
I know. It's like, wait a minute. Before I go out and try to save the world, maybe I should deal with that pile of laundry first.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not about achieving perfection, I don't think. It's more about self-reflection, right? Taking responsibility for our own lives before we try to fix everyone else's.
Yeah, and recognizing that maybe we project our own, inner chaos onto the world around us.
So criticizing others becomes a way of avoiding our own issues.
It can be, yeah.
So it's about getting our own house in order, literally and figuratively, as a foundation for positive change.
Exactly. It starts with us.
I love that. Okay, so before we dive into some more rules, I'm curious, is there one that, really stood out to you?
Ooh, That's tough. I mean, they all offer a unique perspective, but the one about pursuing meaning really stuck with me.
Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient,
Yeah, that one, it's like a reminder to prioritize the things that align with my values.
even if they're harder in the short term.
Exactly.
Right. It's about playing the long game, right?
Yeah. Investing in something bigger than ourselves.
I love that. Okay, so we're going to be unpacking more of these rules in our next part of our deep dive. But in the meantime, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Which of these rules has piqued your interest so far?
Think about it, let us know, and we'll see you back here for part 2 of our deep dive. Welcome back to our deep dive into 12 rules for life. So we covered some interesting ground in part 1, right? Like the whole lobster thing.
Oh, yeah, the lobsters.
Right. But let's move on to a rule that I think can be kind of controversial.
Oh, what one?
Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. I mean, that sounds kind of harsh at first, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, is he saying we should be super strict with our kids?
Well, I think it's more about setting boundaries, like
Yeah.
giving kids a clear sense of what's acceptable behavior.
Okay, so it's about providing structure.
Exactly. Peterson's argument is that kids actually crave structure, believe it or not. It makes them feel safe, knowing where the lines are.
And without those lines, it's just chaos.
Right. They're constantly testing, pushing to see how far they can go. And that can lead to, well, behaviors that we might not be too happy with.
So it's not about punishment, really.
No, it's more about helping kids develop self-control,
Yeah.
and social skills, those things that will help them thrive.
It's interesting because it's like, when we talk about setting our kids up for success, we often think about like academics and extracurriculars. But this is like setting them up for success in life, right?
Exactly. It's those foundational skills like being able to regulate their emotions, to interact with others in a positive way.
It's so important.
Yeah.
And it actually ties in with another rule that I really connected with. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one a lot.
Right. And I think it speaks to our culture of like instant gratification, right?
Oh, absolutely. We want everything now. The quick fix, the easy path.
Right. But Peterson's saying that true fulfillment comes from pursuing things that have meaning for us,
Hmm.
even if they're hard.
Yeah, like maybe it's a career path that's not the highest paying, but it's something you're passionate about.
Right. Exactly. Or maybe it's a relationship that requires a lot of work.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's worth it because it's meaningful.
It's about playing the long game, right?
Yeah.
Investing in something that matters.
And being willing to sacrifice in the short term for something bigger down the line.
Yeah,
So-
because meaning often involves, hard work, discipline, delayed gratification.
Right. It's not always easy or fun.
Yeah,
But I think it's in those moments where we really push ourselves that we grow the most.
absolutely. And that growth often comes from being honest with ourselves, which brings us to another rule. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie.
Seems pretty straightforward, right? Don't lie.
Right.
But there's more to it, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. Peterson's not just talking about being truthful with others, it's about being honest with ourselves.
Oh, that's the hard part.
Right, like facing those uncomfortable truths about ourselves, the things we might be trying to avoid.
And I think it's easy to get caught up in those little lies we tell ourselves.
Yeah, to protect our egos, to justify our actions.
But those lies can build up and create this distorted reality, right?
Exactly. And then it becomes harder to make good choices, to move forward in a healthy way.
Because honesty is about aligning our actions and beliefs with reality. No more hiding from the truth.
Ugh, yeah. It's about integrity, both internally and externally. And that honesty, that willingness to face the truth, it can actually make us more open-minded.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, think about it. If we're constantly lying to ourselves, we're not really open to new information, to different perspectives.
Because we're so stuck in our own version of reality.
Right. And that brings us to another rule. Assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't.
I love this one. It's so important, especially now when it's so easy to dismiss anyone who disagrees with us.
Right. We get trapped in our echo chambers.
Yeah, and we stop listening. But what if we approach conversations with a little more humility?
A little more curiosity.
Yeah, like what if the person I'm disagreeing with actually has a point? What if they see something I don't?
It's not about agreeing with everything, but about being open to learning, expanding our perspective.
And that requires listening, really listening, right?
Absolutely. And then being able to articulate our own thoughts and feelings clearly, which brings us to be precise in your speech.
Oh, communication, communication, communication.
Right. It's so crucial in every aspect of life.
Yeah. And I think vagueness can lead to so many misunderstandings.
Oh, yeah. Resentment, unnecessary drama.
Hmm.
It's like if you can't articulate what you want, what you need, how can you expect others to understand?
So this rule is about being intentional with our words,
Yeah.
choosing them carefully.
Exactly. Taking responsibility for our communication.
So it's not just about what we say, but how we say it.
Exactly. And that can be a game changer in relationships, at work, everywhere.
Okay, now for a rule that I think might surprise some people,
Hmm.
do not bother children when they are skateboarding.
I know, right? This one seems so random.
Yeah, but it's actually really profound when you think about it. It's about letting kids take risks, right?
Yeah. Like, we're so quick to try to protect our kids from every little danger.
The helicopter parent syndrome.
Right. But Peterson's arguing that we're actually doing them a disservice by doing that.
Because they need those experiences to learn and grow.
Exactly. They need to fall down, get back up, figure things out on their own.
It's about developing resilience, independence.
Yeah. And trusting them to navigate the world, even if it means a few bumps and bruises along the way.
So it's about empowering our kids to become capable, confident individuals.
Exactly. And that can be more valuable than shielding them from every potential harm.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but there's one more rule we need to discuss, and it's perhaps the most unexpected of them all. Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street.
I love this one. It's so simple, yet so profound.
Yeah. What do you think Peterson's getting at here?
Well, I think it's a reminder to find joy in the simple things, right? Like in a world that can feel so chaotic and overwhelming.
To appreciate those small moments of beauty.
Yeah. Those little connections that can lift our spirits, even when things are tough.
Like petting a cat.
Exactly. It's about finding those moments of peace and gratitude amidst the chaos.
So we've explored 11 of Peterson's 12 rules, each one offering a unique perspective on how to navigate this, well, messy thing called life. And I think when we start to focus on our own personal development, that's when we can actually start to make a positive impact on the world.
It's like, the ripple effect.
Yeah.
You create order in your own life, and that radiates outward.
So it's not about having all the answers, is it? It's more about embracing those principles, like Peterson talks about.
Yeah, those ways of thinking and being that can help us navigate this crazy world we live in.
It's been an amazing journey exploring these rules with you.
I agree. It's made me think, that's for sure.
And now it's your turn, dear listener. Which of these 12 rules resonated most with you?
Which one are you going to try to apply in your own life?
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. We'll see you next time.